안녕하세요. Welcome to episode 3 of short and sweet lessons on Korean history and culture. 안녕하세요. Welcome to episode 3 of short and sweet lessons on Korean history and culture. By now, I feel like you're getting a little tired of seeing my room, aren't you? I'm sorry, I don't have much choice, but just for you, today I'm going to teleport to a different location. Are you ready? 하나, 둘, 셋! Los Angeles Museum of Art! 박수! So every year at the seminar, we have a field trip to the LA County Museum of Art to look at the exhibitions in the Korean art galleries at LACMA. So today's video features Mayor McArthur. She's an Asian art curator, and she's been at our seminar for many years to present her lecture on Korean art and architecture. So here is Mayor with her presentation of her 10 Korean art picks.
So I'm going to go chronologically through Korean art history. And the first image I've chosen is a beautiful golden crown from the Shilla periods. It is a crown that was excavated from a tomb in Gyeongju, which was the capital of the ancient kingdom of Shilla. The Shilla kingdom used to be called the City of Gold, or Kumsan. The tombs that have been excavated that belong to the Shilla rulers contain many different objects made out of gold. And these are evidence of the very elegant and sophisticated lifestyle that was led by the rulers of the Shilla kingdom. The second object I'm sharing with you today is also an item that was used in the burials of the Shilla people. It's a large ceramic jar. Now, the Koreans have a very long and very rich tradition of ceramics. What's remarkable about this particular piece is the decoration that has been applied to the shoulder of the jar. Not all pieces have such an elaborate scene attached. Third image I've chosen today is perhaps one of my favorites. It's an image of a seated Buddha. He's only about 5 inches tall, but he is one of the most charming and beautiful Buddhist images from any culture. The figure is depicted in the robes of a monk, and he's sitting with his hands in a meditation gesture, and he has a very sweet smile on his face. And this smile is known as the Paekje smile. A lot of Korean art historians have compared this very sort of mysterious Paekje smile with the smile of the Mona Lisa. The fourth image is a view that I took many years ago when I was in Korea of the main entrance to the Pulguksa temple. And it was rebuilt by the minister Kim Dae-sung, who was a very powerful and rich man, a great proponent of Buddhism. And he built this temple and the Sakuram Buddha very close by to show his devotion as a Buddhist. But in the case of the Pulguksa temple, which means the temple of the Buddha land, he built it to honor his parents. So for me, this temple is particularly interesting because it was built as an act of both Buddhist devotion, but also Confucian devotion to his parents. It features many aspects of Chinese traditional architecture that were embraced during the unified Shilla period. The very high stone platform that the temple was built on, and the walls of the temple are actually made of clay, and skeleton, the frame of the temple, is made of wood. And what you see on top, some of the most beautiful features, are the tiled roofs that feature a hip and gable style. One of the greatest artistic accomplishments in Korea occurred during the Koryo Dynasty. And during this period, which is considered to be a great blossoming of many aspects of Korean culture, Buddhism was extremely strong. Much of the art of this period was created by Buddhists or for Buddhist temples. They were also very wealthy at this time because they had a lot of patronage. And one of the most remarkable accomplishments was the creation of a set of 80,000 wood blocks that were carved in the 13th century with the complete Buddhist scriptures, and they were created by the monks of the Haeinsa temple in the southern part of the peninsula. Now, one of the most important things to note about Korean printing, of which this set of blocks was a very important part, was that the Koreans actually invented movable type printing before any other culture in the world did. And interestingly, it was several centuries before the Europeans invented movable type. Some of Korea's greatest contributions to the art world are the elegant high-fired ceramics called Saladins. Now, Saladins are named for their glaze, which is a greenish-gray glaze that gets its color from small quantities of iron oxide. Now, Saladins were first invented in China, but arguably the Koreans produced the most beautiful of these ceramics. Next image I've chosen is a painting by one of Korea's most famous painters, Kim Hong-do, and he was active in the Joseon Dynasty. But what he did that was really unique and very native Korean was he depicted daily life in Korea, scenes of people participating in gatherings and daily activities that perhaps earlier artists might not have chosen or decided to represent. Another style of painting that emerged in the Joseon period is minhwa, or folk painting. And these are some of the most enjoyable areas of Korean art, partly because of their great sense of color and their sense of humor. Now, the tiger has long been believed in Korea to be a messenger of the mountain spirit, and the magpie is the messenger of the village spirit. So here you have the spirits of two very powerful gods represented to bring good luck for the coming year. But a lot of commentators on paintings like these have suggested that there's something more interesting going on beneath the surface here, and that this painting is in fact a satirical painting that represents the people in the form of the magpie taunting corrupt, oppressive officials of the government, represented by the tiger. So the next image I'm showing you is the image of a beautiful Korean lacquered box. It's an art form that they probably learned from China, but they created a style of lacquer decoration that really is unique to Korea. They inlaid mother of pearl shell that was sliced into flat sections. Also in metalwork, the Koreans really loved inlaying their decorations in various different materials, and this technique is known as sangam, and it's something that the Koreans have traditionally been very proud of. So I'm going to wrap this up with my final image, which is a Korean wrapping cloth known as a bojagi, and this type of cloth is the Korean equivalent of patchworking, and it's a type of art form that was done by women, and usually we don't know who these women were. This is very reflective of the ingenuity and the great sense of color that a lot of the women who created bojagi had. They basically collected old cloth, they cut it into squares or triangles and patched it together to create these wonderfully abstract and very modern forms. A lot of people collect bojagi these days because they see them as very similar to modern art.
And that's a wrap. How about a round of applause for Miss McArthur for her wonderful presentation?
I hope that this particular piece and all the other pieces that I've shown you today do stir up your appetite for finding out more about Korean art and give you a sense of the rich traditions in many different media and over many centuries in the world of Korean art.